remember those protests we went to?
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting? Like, I literally haven't seen any more since Trayvon's killing and Zerun's acquittal, and I just find like the entire conversation of race in general disappears all too fast whenever things like this happen.
I feel like there's no one really here to guide us. There's no Martin Luther King, there's no Malcolm X, there's no Angela Davis, and our black leaders aren't really having any call for action, and to organize amongst ourselves with no black Jesus is just proving to be too difficult. I think it's great that the NAACP is doing that, but we still need that person to stand up and tell us what to do and organize us. But I think no one in our community is really coming out and saying that, because they would be on a platform in front of the world saying, hey, we're committing genocide upon ourselves, it's us, but can you still come help us?
That is one of the biggest issues currently plaguing the black community, but we need to be one unit in terms of the world and how they perceive us, and be an advocate for the things on the outside that come into play, such as legislations that hurt us, and combat that, instead of pointing a finger internally and saying these are our flaws.
I think we're united on the issue that black males should not make up 49% of murder victims. It's ridiculous, and I'm tired of our black leaders standing up to say that they don't like the way they're portrayed in the news, instead of doing something to stop what's being reported on the news in the first place.
Because there's so many legislations that have just been normalized in American law that hurt the black community. You have mass incarceration. The entire prison system is disproportionately filled with black men. You have shoot first laws, and then you have marijuana, which under the Obama administration have been decriminalized to a point, yet black males are 4 times as likely than their white counterparts to be arrested for marijuana possession, and in some states 8 times as likely. And then there are other organizations that sort of incentivize the police department to continue to do this, and they encourage racial profiling. That, to me, is black America's biggest problem.
And I think that brings us to our bigger issue. Why is it that in the United States of America, that has such an abundance of resources, when we see low test scores in minority communities, instead of saying, oh, maybe they need computers, maybe they need better resources, maybe we should be cultivating a new learning system that can teach these kids, we then go ahead and build jail systems and throw the kids in there. And while I don't condone people trying to compare the black and Jewish community because our experiences simply aren't comparable, I will say I think the Jewish community has been so successful because they've gotten to take control of their school system. And you have black students going to schools where they're not in the history books and they don't see their faces in any of the books. And maybe if Walter D. Meyer books were constant in 5th grade classrooms and the new Jim Crow was required reading for high school classrooms, we'd be in a very different situation, and we need that opportunity.
I think the power of voting has been so undervalued. If we were able to educate our young about how they can affect these legislations, like shoot first laws that fight against our community, I think we would stand a fighting chance at actually being the representation that we would like to see, and implementing a type of legislation that helps us instead of hurts us.
I'm Chris. I'm Elle Bee, and thank you for riding with us on the elevator.